Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Mindshifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeannie. Michael and Jeannie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeannie Ryce.
To the brightness within you, and the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to Mindshifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Press 1, that puts you in queue to talk. We welcome you to the show. And today is our Memorial Day celebration number 359. Welcome, Michael.
Hi, Tweety. Thank you. And welcome, everybody, to the show. We're delighted that you're here. And we are on a cloudy, patches of sunshine day in Plantation, Florida. Actually just finished the 18th hole. We're taking a little time to play, and my day today was to play golf. So welcome to the show. We're delighted to have you here to share with us the technology and the ancient Aramaic idea of forgiveness and how to change what's happening inside your mind. Of course, when Jeannie mentioned Memorial Day, we're talking about a project to bring human life to Earth and bring a state of peace and eradicate war. By doing what? By having individuals who are willing to be responsible instead of getting into conversations about everybody else when they're in pain or disturbance or upset, to actually own their pain, their disturbance, and upset, and learn to move through it. In the ancient Aramaic, you would never be invited to forgive another or to forgive yourself for anything. You'd be handed a tool with which to go inside yourself and remove all forms of hostility or fear. And once you do that, then there's nobody to blame, nobody to make war on. Hey, human life shows up. And if you are not sure what human life is, we just invite you to hold a newborn child. You'll know exactly what human life is, and when you function out of that state, that's the game we need to play. If you go back into the ancient Aramaic, you'll hear the man named Yeshua. He's popularly known as Jesus, but you'll hear him say, "Be as a child, for such as these are the kingdom of heaven," are, the perfected state of a human life. Now, of course, somebody wants to convince you that you're something else. Somebody wants you to buy an identity that you're something other than what the man said you were. Such as these are the kingdom. Somebody wants you to do something about something original that somebody else did. And it's time for us to stop buying that garbage and start to recognize who we are, to let go of the brainwash that we have to claim being defective, because you're not defective. Do you have defects? Do I have defects? Yeah, we've all got defects, but we're not defective. And the day we return to our original newbornness, our original human life, as Yeshua defined the children, is the day that we have a change on planet Earth and the bringing forward of a peaceful place for our children to grow. So we're glad you're here. If you want to know more about the forgiveness process, please, we invite you to go to our website. On the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets, about 6 links down. And the first 7 links under that section will give you the whole forgiveness story. Once you go through those 7 links, listen, there are 5 different radio shows that each walk someone through a forgiveness process, a how-to of forgiveness. It is a technology. There is I won't say a trick to it, but there is something to really understand about it. And the how-to is not simply straightforward, and it's nothing to do with letting other people off the hook because of what's happening inside of you. It's how to remove what's happening inside of you so you can go back and reclaim that perfection that Yeshua pronounced we all are the children. Nothing else. We all are. Watched an interesting film the other day. It's called The 19th Wife. Really interesting. You might want to check it out. It was on the Lifetime Network. And it was an interesting bird's eye view of how a man makes up a dogma, pretends to be the representative of the Creator and know it all, and in knowing it all, uses fear and hostility to threaten others. There are a couple of scenes where he shows his true colors as he gets into someone's face really close and quiet so nobody else can hear him, and he threatens their loved ones and says, if you don't obey me, I will cut off their heads, and I will deliver that head to you in a bag. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday I will do that. And by terrorizing them with this threat of death, which isn't much different than terrorizing people with the threat of eternal damnation, he gets people to obey and give up their humanness for fear. It's time for us to proclaim our humanness. It's time for us individually and collectively to proclaim exactly who we are. By the definition Yeshua gives, don't buy the ones that those who are doing the fear trip on you would sell you. Your humanness, you are the awesome active presence of love. And we're here to support you in being restored to that, being restored by letting go of everything unlike that. And the only thing left is going to be you. And you are not defective. Don't buy that label. Don't buy that game. It is a travesty to do to a child to sell them that game and that insanity. And the pain that is inflicted upon their physiology that will tend to control them for life. I wouldn't want the result of the sowing of that vibration into a child's field. So anyway, we're here to be restored to our childlike nature, our true human nature, and give up the rest. And so, Jeannie, do we have anything happening in the chat room? Any questions or thoughts, or any callers on the line?
No, nobody has any questions right now. If you can block the wind, it's kind of, I mean, we can hear you and hear what you're saying, but there's like this undertone of blowing.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if you can put your hand over the microphone.
Yeah, I've tried to do that. Let me just see if I can get a space inside the building here.
Whatever you're doing right this minute, it's good.
There we go. That's better.
Okay.
Okay, I'm inside
right.
now.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Dr.
Kim is with us this morning or afternoon.
Welcome, sir. Glad that you're here. How do you be?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to
good.
be here. I was hoping we could get the person on from yesterday near the end of the show who had questions about the whole process because she was impressed with, or I think he or she was impressed with the call yesterday. And was it Patricia who had done such fabulous work with her daughter, the birthday party,
yes.
or her son?
Yes. Yeah, really, really an awesome piece of work. Anybody who missed yesterday's show, listen to it to hear what Patricia has to say about what she's done in 6 weeks with this work is nothing short of miraculous. So give a listen to that show tomorrow if you missed it. And yes, if the caller that called in after Patricia is still with us, we'd love to hear your questions. We'd love to hear how how to share the refinements in the tool of forgiveness, in the tool of looking inside of ourselves and removing what never belonged. So please call in. We'd love to hear from you.
My comments today are related to several times in the past week. The theme has come up again of being told by others that people are not good, being told by older siblings or parents that people were stupid or ugly or wouldn't amount to anything. And there was another situation where someone was being told that it's stupid for them to conserve water and recycle, and a woman was trying to do all she could around her townhouse complex to conserve water and set up the garden so it would take less and catch rainwater and reuse it. And then she walks out and the townhome association is power washing the building. And so she was all upset about their lack of respect and the theme that kept coming up in our conversations was Pierre Pradervan's work on the gentle art of blessing, which I think is so wonderful and powerful because it follows what you were just saying, that you don't buy into other people's version of you as less than love, and you don't buy into the conditioning that makes you look at others and see them as being less than love. So that book is a wonderful tool to teach people to hold a space of love, an image of people in their perfection, to learn to try and see the face of Christ in others, even when they may be putting out something less than their highest and best. And that ties into the definition you often bring up for humility, which is the ability to see the highest and best in another and then choose to cooperate only with that part of them, even if they're putting out angry, bitter, resentful, or unproductive behaviors. So I thought maybe that would be a good topic for today if nobody else has any questions or if there aren't any callers. That is, if you're still there, Michael.
And there are no other callers, so I'd say go for it.
I'm still here. My phone hid the mute button from me for a minute there. So yeah, it is such. If you watch this movie, The 19th Wife, I mean, the whole thing that you're talking about, Tim, is so powerfully displayed, and how the man who's called the prophet of a church is nothing but a manipulator using fear. Every word supposedly spoken of the Creator in the name of the Creator that is based in hostility or fear is a man's lie meant to control other men. Every word. And, there's a powerful line in the Course in Miracles that says, what you see in another, you reinforce both in them and in yourself. And when we're willing to forgive, to face and remove the pain in ourselves from being forced to believe those lies, and because oftentimes those doctrines have gone on for generations and generations and generations, it takes some really committed work to forgive the depth of mental pain, emotional pain, and physical pain. After we watched this particular movie, the next day we went to a church in Fort Lauderdale, and there were some children who were being installed as kind of, going into the next level of functioning in the church. And the first thing they were asked to do was to proclaim themselves sinners. In order to become members, they had to proclaim themselves to be something they were not. They were totally and completely, by the minister, defiled, as Yeshua would define it. He would say to these children, defile not these little ones, for such as these are the kingdom of heaven. And this preacher stands up there in front of 2,000 people and says, proclaim yourself defective. And at a later point in it, and you can tell what's going on in his life by his power person dynamic, or what his power person dynamic was, because at another point he's talking about the Beatitudes, which in Aramaic, of course, are about uncovering the guidance system that the Creator put in us. And here he's talking about how Yeshua is rubbing our nose in our defectiveness. And it's like I wanted to have a conversation with him and asked him how it felt when his power person rubbed his nose in his defects. And, it's been around for so long, it seems like it must be true because so many people believe it. And, and so many people who say they believe in the man don't believe the man. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Such
as are these, such is the kingdom of heaven. Proclaiming the children for what they are, rather than forcing them into a story about what they're not. Now, does that mean we don't have defects? Obviously we do. Do the children have defects? Well, if you look at them in their tantrums, in their hostility, in their fear, in their rage, and their grief, yeah, lots of defects. But they're not. We're not defective. And nobody who has any awareness or connectedness with the actual presence of the love of the Creator would buy that lie for a minute. And it's just time for us to proclaim the children and we for who we are, and then get to work about undoing, forgiving our defects. You know, it's like, okay, so we have defects. All right, so let's face them. And, of course, how can you tell if you have a defect? Is your physiology capable of producing any form of hostility or fear? Then you have a defect. Now, what will you do if you're brainwashed into a condition called blockage of truth? You'll blame somebody else for the way you're feeling. You'll blame somebody else for your defect. So if I'm feeling it, it's mine. If I can't proclaim it's my defect, big difference between proclaiming it's my defect and proclaiming I'm defective, then I'm going to have all kinds of defenses against looking at that hidden part of me that holds my hostility, my fear, my grief, my rage, my pain. And we are here to support, to bring forward the truth of the Aramaic forgiveness process, which is the tool with which you remove your defects, with which we individually and collectively remove our defects. All the stories we've been told about how terrible and how, unacceptable we are to the Creator, and be restored to the truth about us. And the truth about us has never been touched by any defect we've ever had, by anything that's ever happened to us, by anything that's ever been done to us, or anything that we've ever done. They're two different levels of energy. The truth about us always remains intact. Forgive what's not true about you, and you're free. You'll be able to do what Patricia talked about yesterday, where she had a former husband who cheated on her 14 years. They've been separated 14 years. They've been feuding and fighting. And with her daughter having a birthday party, invited friends to come to a place where they could play and paint. And her planned program for her daughter's birthday party was for everybody that was there to get up and speak something that they really loved and admired about her daughter. Instead of being filled with sugar and phosphoric acid, which is basically, most of the stuff that's served at things like birthday parties, here are these children telling each other and telling this young lady what they really love and appreciate about her. And if you weren't here, it was so awesome, because what she did was she invited everybody. She shared the tool we teach as the love exchange, and had these kids doing love exchanges with each other, and was able to do one with her former husband. And his new wife, who was the one that he was cheating with when they were married, was out in the car, and in her courageous being invited another part of herself, this other woman, into the party to do the love exchange and to share with them. I mean, and as I've really been ruminating on the thought that came to me. It's like Yeshua and the whole of heaven is dancing a jig over that one, far, far more excited and enthusiastic than probably just about every sermon that was preached yesterday in the churches of the world. There's a real happening. So yeah, it's powerful when we start to realize what we're not and how to let go of what doesn't belong.
Michael, we do have a caller.
Awesome. Let's listen to our caller.
Area code 954, you're on the air.
Hello.
Welcome, 954. That sounds like Barry.
It is Barry, yes.
Very good, sir. How do you be?
Peaceful, joyful, contented, hopefully optimistic, and also conscious of I can be less than love out of, I'll say out of habit, out of lack of practice to be other than that. And I thank you for giving me a piece of my spiritual practice by having provided the tools a long time ago. And so I would like to, if we could, I'd like to take a crack at one of my 77 times 70. And could I quickly talk through or work through a worksheet with you? Would that be appropriate to do on the air with you?
Anybody, tell us what's happening. How can we support you?
Okay, so I did a worksheet as part of my current commitment to do, 40 days, and I had a repeated theme. And for me, one of the repeated themes is around my eating for feeling comfort and for feeling loved. And so I made myself the A, and the B was that I eat for comfort and feeling loved. And then what my mind tells me that causes me to feel sadness is that I will never feel / be loved looking as I do. And what how I punish is by withdrawing and or by staying dissociated. And really, it's on the dissociated. I did my first 10 or 15 worksheets in this last round, really right at the boundary line of dissociation. And I just have this sense that I had to feel so disconnected. It was like I was doing it as if I knew, as if I was really connected, and I didn't feel it and really haven't felt it. It was kind of like I'll go through the process, and so I've been kind of just filling in and saying it, but this has such a charge for me that I seem to remain in that state of I'll use your expression, dissociation. My expression would be I go unconscious, or I'm doing it from a state of unconsciousness. And there are many things in my life that I continue to live or be from that, and I'm choosing to have a shift. So I know the process is to choose love and willingly face and process out all disease-producing energies for and from all my relations, and I willingly go through the physical, mental, emotional symptoms of healing. And
so
I'm
Barry,
willing to...
Barry, before you go further, let's hold on for just a second. What's the situation in which you're doing this compulsive eating? We're doing this particular worksheet. What happened? What was the event that triggered this eating behavior that you've got sadness around and such, and not feeling loved? What happened?
I dissociate from being aware of exactly what happened, but this is habitual. This is every night, just feeling empty, not feeling love, not being able to generate it for myself, replaced playing poor me tapes. I'm alone, and not standing in what I know to be true when I'm really in my spirit. I'm saying the words now. I'm not feeling it or experiencing it. I'm acting as if. I'm saying as if.
So you're sitting at home and you're feeling lonely, empty. Is that what I hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Lonely, empty, frustrated, unhappy.
Okay, so each of those, lonely, empty, frustrated, unhappy, would each be separate worksheets. So I'd take 4 worksheets now, and you got the first one going with lonely, and so I'd begin another 3 worksheets. One with empty as the feeling, one with unhappy,
So one for each of those feelings.
I'm going back around the time when in the period that I was doing this. The other worksheets I worked on was disgust and disconnected. Were other
So this is all around just sitting at home by
frustrated and
yourself.
angry. Yeah, all around the same. I have like a whole. There are probably, I don't know, 10 different vibratory feeling, emotion, senses, and mind energy thoughts that are shadowing that down that I hold.
Okay. So each one of them would be a different worksheet. Each one of those 10 different things. They're 10 worksheets.
I understand that. And what I say to you is, can you give me a little bit of a kind of like a push past past this dissociated, disconnected state?
Okay.
It's almost like yeah.
My thought at this moment would be to kick into a mind shifter. And
okay.
the mind shifter I'd suggest you work with would be, it's safe and healing for me to be alone. It is one of the favorite times of my day.
It's safe and healing for me to be alone. It is what?
It is one of the favorite times in my day.
It is one of
the favorite times in my day.
Times in my day.
What's happening with your breath as you look at that?
What breath?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I'd invite you to breathe and to start working with that mind shifter. And for anybody that's on the show that's not familiar with the mind shifter tool, we define a mind shifter as a thought about an issue in your life. There are negative thoughts, and it's the opportunity to process and release the negative thoughts. And so as you run, basically what you do with that tool, if that mind shifter fits for you, is you divide a page in half, you write that thought on the left side of the page, and then write everything up that comes up in response to it on the right side of the page. When you run out of things to write, good, bad, and indifferent, doesn't matter, whatever comes, you just want to do whatever comes, you just want to do a brain dump, and whatever comes to the surface. And what that will do is it will tend to give you the opportunity as you let that intensify and surface, get you in touch with. It's another way to access that dissociated part of the mind that holds that being alone, that there's something wrong with it, rather than, gee, I really cherish this time alone at home on my own. And what usually goes on there, Barry, I would offer, is that there's some judgment about self that I can't or don't want to get in touch with, something I've bought into that somebody else has told me, or something that I've made up about me that says, I don't want to be still and quiet and look and hear at this because it's too painful.
I hear you.
And there's why the breath is held. And there's the thought that you want to touch into and forgive. Now, if you
I'm going to ask you to repeat it because maybe I have held my breath since you started to talk. But even though I said yes, I got it. It kind of like the brain cells didn't retain it. So if you would just repeat what you said, I think it was very pointed for me. Thank you.
Yeah. So the reason usually why somebody can't face being alone, they've got to have the TV on, they've got to have the radio on, they've got to have music playing, they've got to be on the phone, they've got to be doing something, is because if they ever get quiet enough, what they're going to find in there is some deep, hateful thought about themselves that they have either made up or they've bought into from someone else, exactly what Dr. Tim was suggesting we talk about on the show. And so my input would be to have the willingness to touch into whatever that thought is and be able to throw that thought out, to be able to shift that thought.
I got it.
Michael, you're breaking up again with the wind.
Yeah, I'm not on the wind. I think, Barry, if you can put yourself on mute on your phone when you're not talking, it's coming from your phone, I think.
Did you ask me to put you on mute?
No, to put you on mute when you're not talking. There's a lot of noise coming from your phone.
I'm sitting outside in a parking lot in North Georgia.
Okay. Well, if you can, when you're not talking, if you just put it on mute, that would be my highest thought. So then to carry forward, so you've got the mind shifter to work with, and then to carry forward at the worksheet, what would be the goal that you would have for yourself as you're sitting at home? Is the object of the worksheet, Barry, is it your name that's in there?
Yes.
Okay. So then you want to touch into, so you recognize that your generations held a lot of internalized pain, and you're willing to become spiritually big enough in your being to embrace that pain and to move through it and to let the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of that moving through come forward and be able to embrace it out of a connected state of love. So then to look at, in that circumstance with yourself as the object of attention, what is it that you want? As you're sitting there in that dissociated, disconnected state, what is it that you want from Barry? If you were to create a goal, number 3, what is it you want from Barry?
What I've written as a goal is to eat consciously and lovingly.
Say it again, to do what?
To eat consciously and lovingly.
Okay. Well, I think that there's probably, that would perhaps be a good worksheet to do, but there's another depth, another level of that one to deal with. And I think it would more relate to, I want to be able to be in my own space connected to love. So I want to be in my own space and stay connected to love. Why don't you try that as the goal? And what's happening with your breath? Are you with me, Barry? Is your mute button on now?
I'm writing. I can't write and speak at the same time. I want to be in my own space and
stay connected to love.
And stay connected to love. In this sequence of worksheets that seem to have this repeated theme of my going unconscious, staying dissociated, disconnected, in regards to the theme of feeling and being loved, I recalled something that I had forgotten as a child, where I was the participator, where even at maybe age 7 or 8, I chose to withdraw rather than allowing myself I was already in so much pain that it was painful, or my mind, or I was so dissociated by then that I couldn't allow myself to be available, or when there were opportunities outside of my dysfunctional family to experience being loved, that I withdrew. I was so already in the withdrawal that I couldn't be available. And the positive part of this for me was that it kind of took away a piece of the blame game that I had for my family, for my community, for how everyone was being around the early time of my life. And even at that early age, it was still my choice. At 7 or 8, there were loving children that weren't as damaged as I and others that I knew were, that could have, reflected, a holier way of being for me. I just made an unholy choice at that time, and maybe once in the last 20 years, doing the work that come to me, and somewhere between Saturday and Sunday, that was like an aha for me. I'm being called back into my busyness, so I thank you for your time today, and will I see you Wednesday night at George's? Hello?
Yeah, Barry, keep on that worksheet with that particular goal, and see what processes through with that one. Okay? You still there, Barry?
No, he dropped
okay.
off. So we do have two callers.
Oh, fabulous. Let's listen and see what they say.
Area code 786, you're on the air.
Hi, Michael and Jeannie. This is Julio calling from Miami.
Hey there, good sir. Good to hear from you.
How are you?
Blessed and highly favored.
Thank you. Likewise to you. By listening to Barry, I was able to identify the same thought process that I was using to overeat at through the last few years of my life, and I related to everything that he was talking about. I also related to your recommendations on what to do to get over this. As you know, these are things that I've been dealing with, and I'm being at the moment with canceling all of these negative feelings and unloving behaviors that I have aimed at myself throughout the last few years. And at the present moment, I've lost 58 pounds just in about 4 months. That's
pretty awesome.
But thank
58
you.
pounds. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. But I am doing the work. I'm being, every day I do worksheets, and in all these issues, I started off by making a list of all the things that were bothering me, and people, situations, and events were bothering me. So I've been doing lists on all of those things, and of course, new things pop up all the time, which I need to make to do worksheets over. But I want to tell Barry to please be diligent about that, because that is the only thing that will make him feel better and heal. I would also advise that he come up with a diet, with a regimen, and I would recommend a vegan diet, if not vegan raw, because I think that the energy that, and the mental clarity that's producing in my life, it's making a big difference. I'm not visiting the comfort food that I was, used to eating, and going to those dark places in my mind where I was constantly visiting. It's coming from the diet as well as doing the worksheets, and there is a sense of loving myself here, because I'm taking care of myself in a whole loving way. The time that I spend preparing my food and exercising and taking care of myself, it's like a meditation, and it's producing love for myself, and then I'm able to offer it to other people. That's the only way you can offer it to other people, if you can love yourself as much. So that would be my recommendation. Hello, Michael, are you there?
Nice. My mute button, my new phone, my mute button disappears on me. I'd be 100% in agreement with you, and I really acknowledge you. Let's see, your first worksheet was how long ago?
My first worksheet was in January when you were down in Fort Lauderdale doing workshops.
Awesome. Well, that's a huge chunk of progress to move to that point, and 58 pounds. Wow, that's a huge amount of weight to take off. Congratulations. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. And then, of course, I did your intensive, so it's become like a way of life. That's the wonder of this work. How if it's working for you, if you're seeing results, then you incorporate it into your everyday life, and that's certainly what I'm doing.
Very powerful, and that's of course the whole idea of every tool we teach. Incorporate it and make it part of your life. Are there any other tools that we can offer any support with or any refinement on, Khalil?
You mean for myself?
Yes, sir.
Well, Michael, I'm not having many issues right now. I think I'm familiar with a lot of the tools since I went to your intensive and have been, privy to some of your workshops or most of them by watching the DVDs by now, and I'm doing great. I got a lot on my table, I'm doing great, and you're supporting me enough already at this moment. I can't think of something that I need help with this very moment.
Well, I'm delighted to be on the team. Glad to have you on ours, and we'll look forward to seeing you in late July for teachers training.
Great, thank you. Looking forward to that as well.
Okay, blessings. Take care.
Blessings. Bye-bye.
Jeannie, you've got another caller?
We actually have two more callers. Area code 970, you're on the air. Who do we have?
Hey, Jeannie and Michael, it is Carrie in Colorado. How are you?
Eric?
Good, welcome.
Good.
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to say, go Barry, just encourage him. And as I was listening to him and I was thinking, wow, I remember times in my life when, especially when I was pretty young, and how I had that sense of sort of, really unsettledness when I was alone, feeling lonely, feeling, not knowing how to love myself. And I was thinking how culturally our whole thinking system, it just breeds something, other than real self-love. And I was just kind of cheering him on, and I had a really nice talk with Julio on the phone recently, and I wanted to just say about his comments, yes and yay, and it's really neat to get that, grasp that sense of loving of self and really just let your life become kind of a mantra of that. It's just such a wonderful thing. But the reason I called, I have a question to toss out to you, Michael, and I'd love your insight on it. A really dear friend of mine who you also know who lives in Florida, she and I bat things back and forth a lot, and we were both feeling like the last 6 months or so for each of us has been kind of a review time in our lives. We're each in an environment where we sat down last night on the phone together, and we each made a list. And we each had a list of at least 50 things, and if we had dug deeper, there probably would have been 50 more. Things in our current environment that are kind of flashbacks or deja vus at all different times in our lives, beginning from childhood and other relationships, different relationships throughout our lives, and the most profound. And so I've been asking myself, when I made my list, what I wanted to do is say to myself, okay, what would I need to do a worksheet on in relationship to this item? And on some of them I would come up with, and underlying, just getting to talk about it and bat it back and forth together helped me access some underlying feelings that were still associated to those memories. And they range from things like a cat that looks exactly like a cat we had when I was a kid. I can remember sitting on the back porch with my mom naming the cat when it showed up at my house, and similarities to a guy I was married to, and then similarities to the place I lived with a guy I was in a relationship with. I mean, it's like when you start making a list and you realize how many things there are. And she had something very similar in a situation she was in this winter. So I was just digging and asking myself, I know that I started doing this work about 6 months before I came here. So I started giving my soul, my life force, the energetic being that I am, permission and asking to release old layers. So what I'm thinking is that I've created an environment that's just, got this entire holographic mirroring of old layers for me to look at and say, let go of, and do worksheets on. But I just wanted to get your insights. Am I still here? Can anybody hear me? Oh,
you're still here. I got you.
All right.
And yeah, you're right on. We are creators, and we will tend to attract ourselves back to circumstances until we work through what needs to be worked through. There's a very powerful film which is available on Netflix called Saved by the Light. It's a story about Daniel Brinkley, who was a hired killer, and his near-life experience where he was struck by lightning. He clinically is dead for 28 minutes, and he has, in that 28 minutes, an experience of his being. And just a slight refinement on the thing of loving ourselves. The goal is not to come to the point where we love ourselves. The goal is to come to the point where we strip away everything that is unlike love so that the only thing left is ourselves, love. The truth is nobody's ever going to love us. Nobody has ever loved us and is ever going to. We've never loved anyone, and we're never going to love anyone. And God doesn't love us because love is not a verb. It's not something we do. It's the stuff we're made of. And so we live, move, and have our being in an energy field called love. The field doesn't do love. The field is love. The being that we are doesn't do love. It is love. And when we're searching for even love of self, we're looking for love in all the wrong places. Because if you think it's something you're going to do or somebody's going to do to you or for you, then it's a false search. It's one that can never be fulfilled because it only comes from your direct experience of your true nature. And when you take those 50 things and you collapse them, you will get deeper and deeper and deeper moments of the direct physiological experience of the active presence of love. And fortunately, when you get a taste of that, belief systems based in hostility or fear cannot give you a taste of that. But the tools for collapsing the hostility and fear can give you a full taste. And ultimately, what I offer, we're designed to live as, is we're designed to be experiencing literally the physiological presence of love in our forms 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's what we're designed for. And we don't get to experience that because we hold all kinds of other judgments about ourselves and others. And those judgments become feelings because those judgments are based in thoughts. And so, when we are willing to go in and confront and move those things out, in the movie Saved by the Light, Daniel Brinkley actually has, and it's a true story, 3 different near-life experiences where he goes through clinical death. And it shows 2 of them in the film, and how there's one particular kill that he did as a hired government killer where he has to go back and process out of his field the pain that he inflicted on this person and the experience that their families had of the loss of this person. He had to process through that because we carry those things literally as energetic patterns. Every offense we've ever done, every energy we've ever engaged in is stored holographically in every cell of our structure, and it's what creates our feelings. Our feelings are designed to come from our human beingness, from the active presence of love. But until you strip away and you're willing to face every offense in the generations, until you're willing to invite that higher power that in Aramaic was called Rukadukudja in to process those things out, and the only thing left is who you are, then the experience of love is going to elude you. You may get a sensation of approval when somebody says, oh, I love you, and it's not the experience of who we are. And so the goal is to get to that experience directly and then to strip away everything that never belongs, so the only thing left is that. That's the ultimate goal of the work.
Just that
Does that make
explanation.
sense?
Yes, it makes a ton of sense. And even just that explanation is helping me understand how to look deeper into these circumstances that surround me and ask myself what residual is there.
That's the idea. That's what we're here to do. And that's the real work.
Got it. Thank you so much. Great explanation. Really appreciate it.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate you. We hold space and love your questions. You know, all the years of work that you've done. For those who don't know who we're talking to, this is Carrie Ellis, who's the author of the book Super Immunity, which is available through our website. It's available through carrieellis.com, and it's available at Amazon. Cool stuff. And you're working on a new book. What's the title of your new book, Carrie?
The 21st Century Superhuman.
Awesome. Can you give us the gist of the 21st Century Superhuman?
Basically, it's going to be really just a handbook, a guidebook. How do you do a cleanse? Why would you choose a certain kind of diet? You know, discussions around that, dietary transition. How do you get from one stage to the next? How do you deal with, you know, choosing a certain lifestyle when maybe family members are on a different path? All of the things involved in really at the core choosing a healthy lifestyle, cleansing, colon cleansing, the health of the skin, nutrients that we can put on the skin to make it more healthy and alive. And it will also include some of this work because I feel like even my experience even before getting so closely associated to your work with the ancient Aramaic has been removing the layers of, you know, the emotional blockage that keeps the life force from us. So anti-aging, a lot of kind of really, I'm so excited for it to come out. I can hardly wait. So just working away on it. Yep, next couple months.
All right, fabulous. We'll keep us posted, and we appreciate you. Have a blessed one.
Thank you. You too. Many blessings.
Jeannie, we're down to about 7 minutes. Do we have another caller?
We do. Area code 810. You're on the air.
Hi, Michael. I have a question. I've been seeing a
Who's calling, and where are you calling from?
I would prefer not to say.
Give us a name of where you can call you. Okay, you're Mary Jane or whatever.
Sure, Mary Jane works great.
Okay.
I've been seeing a spiritual counselor for quite a while now, and
say that once again. I didn't quite understand what you said.
I said I have been seeing a spiritual counselor for quite a while now.
Okay.
And it appears that he has a soft spot or a special affinity for one of the other people that come to him that I am that I'm involved with also. When I say involved with, okay, it's just not involved with like girlfriend or anything. Okay, she lives in our house. How's that? Okay, and can I heal? I do have some issues around it, and if I took a break from seeing him for a while, I do the worksheets every single day. I do 5 a day. Could I work through these issues just with the worksheets, or is it better to continue seeing him and trying to work it out that way?
Well, let me see if I'm getting the picture. So am I hearing that this person is representing themselves as a counselor and someone that they're working with, they're also becoming intimately involved?
No, not at all. Okay. I'm one of his clients, and this other person is also one of his clients.
Right.
And it just appears that he has a real soft spot for her. She's very, very good at manipulating people, okay, to get what she wants. And I allow that sometimes. And I don't trust her at all, and I do have some trust issues. I'm very aware of that, and I've been working on those diligently with the worksheets.
Right.
And when I talked to him today, 3 times in the conversation, because he'll always say, watch your speech and listen to what you're saying carefully, because then you get a clue as to what's coming up, the issues, what's coming up for you. And he said to me 3 times, I'm 100% clear on this. I'm 100% clear. And then he said, I'm 1,000% clear. And I thought, is he trying to convince me that he's really clear on this? Or is he trying to convince himself that he doesn't have any, his job obviously is to look at everybody. All of our jobs are to look at everybody with pure love, okay? Which, I'll be honest, right now I'm having a difficult time because she's done a lot of very unethical things, okay? And do I sound judgmental? Yes. I feel judgmental, and I'm working on that piece, too. I'll tell you, I've got so many worksheet material, it's unbelievable.
Okay. So it sounds like it's kind of vague. I'm not getting clear on where you want to go with this.
Okay,
am I hearing that there is a jealousy issue?
The issue is, I have an issue with him being, it seems like he listens to her and then believes all her stuff, and she lies quite a bit, okay? And, I mean, that's not judgmental. That is a true statement.
No.
And so can I...
So what's your feeling? What's your feeling around all of this? What are you feeling in the middle of that? You see him accepting a lie that she's told. How does that impact you, and what are your feelings?
I feel very betrayed.
You feel betrayed?
Yeah, I feel betrayed.
So that would be the starting point for the worksheet. Sounds like a combination of betrayal and perhaps some jealousy issues. And I suggest that you might want to start doing some worksheets in that direction. And we're down to about 30 seconds, so we're going to have to close the show out. But maybe we can pick the show up and open the conversation first thing tomorrow. We'll remember that your number is 810, and if you're in the queue when we get started, we'll make sure you're the first caller, and we'll continue the conversation and see if we can get a little deeper and get a little more support going for you, okay?
All right. Have a great day.
All right. Blessings. Thanks for the call. You too. Well, everybody, have an awesome day. Bring a stranger to the show tomorrow. We're delighted to be sharing with you. Create the best year yet of your eternal life. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeannie, who present that internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeannie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.earthangelradio.com. whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.